us take you on a trip. More than 40 years and over 25 million records after bringing out their early anthems, and James's new album landed at the top of the charts.
Beautiful beaches, we'll take our chances, take our chances.
A nostalgic band they are not. Frontman Tim Booth says they aren't 90s musicians, but belong now. Tim, the album landed at #1 in the charts. I just wondered, is commercial success important to you, or are you one of these purists that just wants to make great art and you're sort of above the charts?
We were above the charts. In the founding of James, we didn't make any money for the first 7 years, and none of that made any difference to us. And all our heroes didn't sell huge quantities. Iggy didn't then, Patti Smith didn't then, the Velvets sold 20,000 in their lifetime. And then we noticed, when Sit Down sat at #2 for weeks and weeks, and all our fans were really upset, and lots of people were really upset on our behalf. And so we began to realize the importance of numbers in the public eye. So we're aware now that #1, especially after 42 years for our album, would be quite an achievement. Maybe even putting a little crack in an ageist glass ceiling.
Does it annoy you, that kind of ageism, as you call it, or have you made peace with it?
It annoys me. We've been making very high standard of music for a very long time, and I think we've been somewhat neglected. Now, if Radio 1 said we're only going to play music made by men, there'd be an uproar, but they just say, no, we're only going to play music made by people under 33, approximately, and there's no uproar. So ageism is a silent ism.
James's last #1 was in 1998, when the sounds of dial-up internet and modems ran through the house. Now their new album, Yummy, confronts AI.
Beautiful souls, be there for the rebound, always be a rebound.
Are you somebody who thinks AI is a sort of creative tool, or is it more sinister? What's your take on it? I mean, will James be replaced by robots, essentially, as one gets?
I don't know anything that gets introduced into humanity that isn't a double-edged sword, whether it's nuclear weapons, nuclear power, whatever. The more powerful it is, the more dangerous it is, and the more positive it could be as well. And AI is that. Elon Musk says it's more dangerous than a nuclear bomb. Whatever you think about the man, that's a good warning to us. We are about to create something that will be 1,000 times more intelligent than the most intelligent human that's ever been on this planet.
This bed is on fire with passion and love.
Born into the Manchester scene in the early 80s, before the birth of Britpop, Tim Booth famously once describing the band as a weird marriage of brothers. Wrongly, people have tried to sort of group you in with Britpop, but I just wonder, you always seem to kind of be more of the thinking person's band. Do you think that's a fair assessment? Or do you think you were quite laddie?
Mixture, actually. Thinking and laddie. There was all kinds of stuff going on. When James were a bit out of control in the mid-90s, we circled the wagons, so it never really got out to the press. But when we were on the Lollapalooza tour with Korn, Tool, Snoop Dogg, Prodigy, we were considered the wildest band on that tour, and the security were like, watch out for James, and all the other bands, no one wanted to be in a dressing room near us because it was the party band. So there was that aspect that went on, but I think it's a highly intelligent band. I think that's why Brian Eno worked with us, because we weren't stupid, and he likes a good glass of wine in the evening and a fantastic conversation about perfume or quantum physics. And we're your guys.
You're your guys for a 5 a.m. chat about quantum physics.
Totally.
As a band, you talked about gender fluidity kind of way before lots of other people did it in the mainstream.
I used to wear dresses on stage. We loved messing with people's rigid ideas of how somebody should be. We still do. I love messing with the idea of how someone should be at my age. I'm 64, you know. I still stage dive. And I think that's joyful.
Shortly after forming in 1982, James became the first band in history to turn down an enemy front cover and refused a $1 million campaign to crack America. If you could travel back in time and talk to Tim in the 80s, what advice would you give him, or what would you do differently, do you think?
Well, we were bloody-minded artists who had swallowed the propaganda of the enemy and that kind of young male tortured artist thing. We made some very foolish business mistakes in the name of art. You know, in those days, playing arenas was a dirty word, so you almost were against success. Now we're a bit more like, whatever happens, we're here.
Give me that number one, I'll have it.
We'll have it.
Burning down the houses, was surrounded.
After more than 4 decades in the charts, James's capacity to reinvent is alive and well.